All right. Hello, everybody. We're going to get started here today. It's December 13th, 2018. I've got a pretty cool thing to share with you guys today. You probably saw the email go out about it, it's going to be about influencer marketing. So I have a PowerPoint to kind of walk through, and then I got a couple of pieces of software I'm going to show you on how to automate the process. So let me get that started here. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to get this started. We'll show it from the beginning. Again, this is about influencer marketing, and hopefully you guys can all hear this, right? Yeah, I'm unmuted. Okay, so we're good to go. So what we're going to be talking about, influencer marketing, is a way to tap into millions of online influencers. This is a way to find like the best promoters in any niche. Regardless of what you're in, you can pretty much find promoters in here because there are influencers everywhere. I'm going to show you how to find them, and it's a pretty cool little deal. You can also partner with them to promote your stuff. When I was talking about free traffic, this is what I'm referring to. There's an entire industry around this in the affiliate marketing industry and the joint venture partner industry. These are guys that promote one another, and if you've got a good offer that makes sense to their list, they will promote you. Some of them, I'll get into kind of the different ways that they'll do this, but they have highly responsive traffic. They can get you subscribers and sales on demand. So that's a pretty cool thing to learn how to tap into. Because I know, a lot of you guys are kind of timid to spend money on paid ads. You don't have a track record yet. Different things like that, things that hold you back. So this might be a good opportunity to find a channel that you can test and actually get some conversions under your belt. So here's some benefits of doing it this way. You've got cheaper ads. When I talk about free traffic, some of these guys will actually run an ad for you on a paid basis. It's typically a lot cheaper than if you were to go to Facebook or Google and run your ads through there. So cheaper ads, some of them will give you free traffic. Some of them will just promote you because they like what you're doing or you have something to offer to share with their community. If you do, like an affiliate offer and you offer them a commission, the cool part about that is you pay only for sales. So that comes to controlled ROI. That's return on investment. A lot of people are afraid to do paid traffic because they don't know what their ROI is. They're afraid they're going to put a bunch of money out and nothing's going to come back. Well, this is a way to control that and get that under control. Another thing, I think I had mentioned this before, and I've talked about this many times in the past about link building, and the best source of link building is relevant links. Well, this will give you the opportunity to get highly relevant links through these sources. Another thing about them is they're unique links. They're not links that are just like readily available that every other SEO guy is using. When you can find unique links in your niche, that is a huge bonus for you. That puts you, that much ahead of the competition because they don't have access to those links. Gives you targeted traffic, which, any of you that have been following along with Google and what they've been doing over the last few years, you know how important this is. Links that have no traffic are almost useless. They still look at them, but they're not looked upon near as highly as links with traffic and traffic that provides a good user experience. Those factors are huge now if you want to rank in Google. Google is looking, they've got artificial intelligence that's watching everything. So it's not like the old days where you could just go build a bunch of links and have nobody follow them and nobody knew. No one was the wiser. Well, Google knows now that looks kind of funny. If you've got a bunch of links and no one's coming through your links and visiting your site, that looks a little fishy. So this gives you a great source of links. This is not just about putting your offers out. This is also about link building. There's so much added value to doing this. There's really no reason for you not to do this. The other thing it gives you is when you're in control of the linking, you're working with this provider, you can actually tell them and give them the link to put on there so you can control the anchor text. A lot of you guys need more brand anchor text. If you don't know that, that's your biggest source of links should be brand links. If you look at the major brands that are ranking really highly for, across the entire internet, look at their link portfolios. They have a very high volume of brand links. People know the brand. What happens in, the smaller world where we live, we're not big major brands. When we do SEO, we tend to focus more on our keywords than our brand. Well, by nature, the big brands are getting brand links, and that's what Google has identified as being a positive factor, that people know your brand. So we have to shift our thinking, from the little guy's perspective, and we need those brand links too if we want to play the game. So having that control over the anchor text, for those of you that aren't familiar with anchor text, that's the clickable text in the link. Like when it says click here to go to whatever site, that click here where it's underlined and that's what you click, that's the anchor text. So you should have that be your brand name. Like for me, it would be, click on Internet Dominators and have Internet Dominators be the underlined portion that they click on to go through. So whatever your brand is, that should be the thing that links through. And you want to have a lot of variation in your link sources. Your link sources should not all be just the same thing, even if your brand is one solid thing. Like mine is Internet Dominators, but I might link visit Internet Dominators, or I might link, I might put visit Internet Dominators for search engine news, and I would link that whole thing. That's a variation with my brand inside of it. So that's something that you want to do. You want to map this out and have a strategy for your link building, because you want it to come out looking natural. You don't want to over optimize. That's the worst thing you can do in optimization, is overdo anything. So if you do, like my methodology is cloud cover. If you use the cloud cover methodology in everything you do, you'll be just fine. You'll be hidden in the clouds. All right, so link promotions. This is kind of a strategy of how, if you're going to do a link promotion with one of these influencers, this is kind of the best scenario of how you could do it. You have them put your offer on their website with the link through to your website. A lot of them, like if they're Instagram influencers, they're going to be sending it right out of their Instagram, or if they're let's say it's a big Facebook influencer, they might just be posting on Facebook on your behalf. Same thing though, you're still getting a link from their Facebook page over to your site, and you can control that anchor text. So no matter how you slice it, you want them to put the offer on their site, whether it be their website, their blog, their Facebook, their Instagram, whatever that is, and have that link over to your site to actually do the offer. That way, not only do you get the link, you're going to get the traffic when they promote it. That traffic is, that's a key factor for Google, seeing traffic coming across links. So you want to make sure that when you're doing these promotions, you're thinking link building promotion as well as sales promotion, because there's no reason not to. You'll get max bang for the buck when you do it that way. All right, so here is some affiliate marketplaces. These are some places where these kind of people hang out. These are all people that have big lists and they can promote stuff. JV Zoo, that's a big forum online where these people hang out. It's like a marketplace. You can put your products in there for sale. if you guys have digital products, like you sell online training or any kind of a digital download or anything, you may want to put your products in these marketplaces. It's like a clearinghouse. Affiliates can come in here and find things to promote, and then they'll run with it because they're going to make money with your product. A lot of times affiliates, a lot of times they don't have their own products. They have a following. They've built up a big following, and they're an influencer in a particular niche, but they don't necessarily sell their own products. They find other people to promote their products. So Warrior Forum, the Black Hat World Forum, ClickBank, and Kartra now. Kartra actually has their own affiliate marketplace as well. So if you guys are on Kartra, whenever you put a product in, you add a product to your Kartra software, it gives you the ability to actually launch it into their marketplace with one click. So it's pretty cool, being able to put your product right into their marketplace as you're adding products, into your marketing. That's pretty awesome. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, social media. Here's another source of all these influencers. There's Instagram, there's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, probably a whole number of them also that I'm not mentioning here. But on top of that, you've got bloggers. I kind of lump them into the social media category. But if you want to find the bloggers in your niche, all you have to do is just go to Google and put in top blogs and then whatever your niche is. And it will give you a list of all the top bloggers out there. And these are guys that you can communicate with. They're on there for a reason. They've got a following, and generally their main reason is to make money. So if you have a vehicle for them to do that, you'll be helping them, they'll be helping you. So it's a good thing to do. All right, so when you look at influencers, there's some of these guys that have millions and millions of followers, but I think it is better to go after what's called the micro-influencer. And what that is, that's somebody that is like a non-celebrity. Like, you don't want Paris Hilton promoting your product. First of all, it's going to cost you a fortune. Second of all, she's got a gazillion people that are following her that have nothing at all to do with you. So it's going to be a bad situation. So I typically tend to go for non-celebrity individuals that influence a small but highly engaged follower base. These are going to be your prime people that can promote your offers. Don't get greedy. Don't go for the huge ones. They're going to be expensive, like I said, for one, and they're not going to be near as targeted, and their engagement isn't going to be as high. That's really important. So again, I've covered this. They're less expensive. The other thing is there's not the competition. They don't have a million people hitting them up every day to do an offer. So they're much more likely to want to work with you. So that's something to keep in mind too. That's another reason for going for the micro influencers instead of the mega influencers. All right, so the next thing is, how big of an influencer base are we looking for? If you can get them in the 10,000 range, that's like the sweet spot. But it doesn't have to be that big. It's like 10,000 or below. When they start getting above 10,000, a lot of times they're not going to be as engaged, and they're not going to be near as specific. So your relevance is going to go way down along with your engagement. So try and keep it below 10,000, up to 10,000. That would be like, that sweet spot. And then engagement rates. This is something I'll show you in one of the pieces of software I'm going to show you how to use. It will show you how to actually get the engagement rate. And if you can get an engagement rate, let's say you've got a follower with 10,000 or less followers, and they've got an engagement rate of 2% or better, that's what you want. That's what you're looking for. Those are like the, the metrics of what the ideal micro influencer is going to be for you. Okay, so here is just a graph, just basically, stating that around 10,000. It's actually a little less than 10,000 is the sweet spot. It says right here also, brands, you're probably not as likely to get a brand to promote you, but Instagram is all about brands. Instagram has like 4.2 engagement rate. That's like 10 times higher than Facebook and Twitter. So Instagram is something, that's what I'm going to show you first, is how to get in there and find out who the influencers are in Instagram. All right, so anyway, this basically is just demonstrating that, that higher engagement rate on smaller audiences, it's the place to be. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so inside Instagram, hashtags, that's how they categorize. Hashtags is like keywords. And if you see here, this is a post from Instagram, and then over on the side, it'll show all the hashtags inside the little pound key there. So hashtags could be anything. It could be a brand. It's basically, just think of it like keywords or tags inside of YouTube. It's what's relevant. It's what is your post about. And again, it's just a way for Instagram to categorize all of the content within there. So the hashtags, that's going to be an important factor when we go and hunt for the influencers. And I'll show you how to do that using a really cool piece of software to, to dig them up. Okay, so here is how many hashtags and what type of hashtag. Now remember a minute ago when I was talking about the anchor text for your keywords, the brand, there's brand hashtags just like there's brand anchor text, and then there is what's called community hashtags, which is pretty much anything else. And obviously the brand, that's going to be your brand name. If you can get a lot of people using your brand name as a hashtag, that is a signal to the search engines that you might be an important person. That's also a category now inside of Instagram, where if someone searches for you, they have an actual category for you. And it can connect with all the other hashtags that people combine when, when they're looking for you. So this graph here, it shows the sweet spot of 7. If you have 7 hashtags, that gets you the maximum engagement. So right here, it says 7 hashtags generates the most engagement. When you get more than 8, it's likely that you're going to be perceived as a spammer. You've put too many in. It's like in the SEO world, when you put keywords in your meta tag, if you stuff it, that hurts you. If you've got it just right, like usually 5 to 10 is just about right for keywords on any given page. If you put too many, it dulls the relevancy, and that's what you're seeing here. So if you're doing posts, if you're on Instagram trying to create a following and you want the maximum amount of engagement, keep your tags to 7 or less. 7, in that range, but don't go, try not to go over 8. If you get into the 9 range, that's where you get flagged. That's where you can be perceived as a spam source, and you don't want that. Okay, so here, this is the software that I'm actually going to show you, and it's called Influencer Spy. So I'm going to actually light it up here and give you a live demo of that. So I'm going to close down my my PowerPoint there, and we'll start the software. This is a really cool, easy software to use. Jason Potash is the one behind this. He actually created this. I've known him for years. He was one of the first guys that created software for SEO in the article marketing world. So really bright guy. He's been around for a long time, almost as long as I have. And this is like his latest software that he's come up with. And it's for Instagram. It's for finding the influencers on Instagram. Like I said, it's really easy to use. There's 2 tabs. It's hashtags and search. And you want to start with hashtags because you want to figure out what hashtags are being used. And to do this, all you do, you just put a keyword up here in the search bar and you hit the search button here. And I actually ran one of these. This can take a while depending on how big the list is, but I actually put one in here as thyroid. And I'm looking basically for any hashtag related to thyroid here. And down the list over here, you'll see how many posts have this hashtag attached to them. So you can see if that hashtag is a really popular hashtag or not. Like for thyroid in general, there's 230,000 posts with that hashtag on it. So that could be pretty generic. I'm looking more specifically. Like here is thyroid gland, here's thyroid diet. Now, the reason I did thyroid is because of one of our apprentices does thyroid treatments. They have supplements for thyroid. So I'm just using this as an example. Like here is thyroid hormone. Now, if you want to select these, you can select all of them and you can download the whole bunch here. I would recommend that you be selective over what you're picking and just, do it a little more methodically. Like here's thyroid condition, and if you hold the control key and click, you can select multiple here. Here is thyroid function, thyroid disorders, thyroid disease, thyroid function. And then again, over here, it'll show you how many are in that category. Thyroid healing, there's 24,000. That is a good one. Thyroid health. Here's one specifically to do with thyroid and hair loss. There's 846 posts about that. So chances are you might find a really good follower in that if that was something of interest. Thyroid issues. There's 13,000 posts dealing with thyroid issues. So anyway, I'm not going to go down the whole list here, but I've selected a few. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go up here to the copy button. And I'm going to copy these to the clipboard. Just like that, one click, I've now copied the hashtags that are important to me. And now I'm going to go over to the search button. And I'm going to put that in here for hashtags. And all I have to do is paste them. And notice it pasted them right in there for me. Now on the filter range here, I'm going to select, I'm looking for people. I want to find the influencers. And I want to find the ones that have a minimum of 1,000 followers and a maximum of 100,000 followers. And here I can just add that. And now it's going to go out and it's going to search for these. And it's basically going out onto Instagram and it's finding any of the influencers that deal with those hashtags. Okay, so here it's got the username. So if we click on the username, it's going to take us right to that person's hashtag. And it's going to show you inside Instagram. Like we can click on that, we can go right to their Instagram, and we can see, this woman has 100 posts out there. She's got 8,200 followers, and she's got 438 that she's actually following. And she is teaching people how to balance their thyroid. So this might be a good person to cut a deal with if you had a product to help them balance their thyroid. Here is a LinkedIn profile for her. That's probably a good place to find her email address and be able to communicate with her. If you notice over here in the software, it actually hit a stumbling block and it stopped collecting data here. But as this goes down, it shows you how many followers, how many they're following. So you didn't actually have to go over to their page. But if it doesn't grab their email address, then we want to find out, who they are and how to get a hold of them. Over here, I talked about engagement rate. This is the engagement rate here. She has a 3.93 engagement rate, 3.93%. So that means of every 100 people, she's got 4 people that are engaging with her post. She's got 8,200 following, so you can do the math on that. Here's one here with a 10% engagement rate. That is really good. She's got 1,000 followers, and 10% of those, 100 of those, are actually engaged. So if she was to do a post out, let's say you were to set up and offer to do a webinar for her following, she's got 100 engaged people there that she could invite to your webinar with one shot, one post. So that's pretty cool. Let's see here. Let me do this again. Let me try this again. We'll take out a few of these and see if we can get any further. Okay. I guess it's already done that. Okay, so what we would have to do is we would have to go back here and grab a different keyword. So I'm just going to grab a few more here right off the top, copy them, and go back. And as you do this, it's going to add the information. So it'll add the new ones right over the top. Okay, so it's back on the hunt looking for more. But anyway, as it finds them, it can, if there's a website address, it'll put the website address in. Here you can see we're finding many more of them now. And again, it's got the engagement rates over here. You can actually sort these too. You can sort these by clicking on them. If you want to see who's got the highest following, it'll sort them by that. If you want to sort by engagement rate, let's see here. Okay, 3.93, that's the highest engagement rate there. Again, it's not finding too many email addresses, but a lot of these will have websites. So you can go to the website and you can generally find the email address or the contact information on there. So that's how this particular system works. Now, if you go in, if you want to find out, how to get a hold of this, you can go into the ACT program under the resources. If you go down to the useful resources and you go onto this page, let's see here. Right here, you've got Influencer Spy, which is what we were just in. That one pretty much goes into Instagram, and it will find all the influencers. And then here is another one called Authority Spy. And I'll give you a quick look at Authority Spy and what that does. I'm not going to run the video here, but this one does a lot of the other networks. So this one will find the influencers on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, Clout, Google Blog Search, Technorati. It goes a lot deeper. It doesn't, I don't believe it gives you an engagement rate though. The engagement rate, that one's on Instagram. But check this out, as you're running a search in here, you put your niche in here, and it's actually finding all the people. It shows which channels they have. It'll get you over here. Notice it's got all of their contact information. So if you want to reach out and connect with these guys, this is a really cool piece of software here. They've got 2 different versions of this. They have one that you can buy. You can just buy it outright. I believe it's like 47 bucks. Let me see here. Yeah, you can get the Pro one time for 47 bucks, and it'll give you almost everything except for there's a clout score and a spy score here, which is a way, it's kind of like the engagement rate that you saw on the influencer spy software. This is their own kind of category, how they rate them. And that one, it's 47 bucks, but then it's $17 a month. I just went with the Pro one here, the one-time fee, and went with that. So anyway, that's a couple of pieces of software that I actually use to do this stuff. So it's Influencer Spy and Authority Spy. Those two are for finding influencers. Another thing these are good for is if you want to do analysis and you want to find out if your market is viable. This will tell you how many people are talking in that market, what the hashtags are, what's important to them. So it's really it's a cool tool for that as well. So that's something you might want to take a look at. Another thing I've got here is I've got some other groups, and I will post these. I'll put these in the chat box for any of you guys that want, you know, more groups on there. Be careful with these. A lot of these are actual groups, and they do not allow spam. So you can't go in here and, like, you know, place your offers in there. You can go in here and you can ask questions. You can say, hey, does anybody know of a good JV partner for, you know, whatever, a particular type of product? And then they will get back to you. They'll tell you who to contact and all that. But don't go in here into these groups and spam. These are serious groups. These people are professionals, and they just don't allow anybody coming in and spamming into their groups. So I'll post that in there for you guys. And I'm going to open it up to questions now. If you guys have questions about any of this or anything else, let me check the chat here. Okay. All right. Yeah, just people saying they could hear me. Cool. So if you guys have questions, you can pop out. You can put them in the chat box. I'm happy to answer them.
Here I am, John.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I've been going through a dilemma in the last few weeks about launching this the trading thing. Now, I'm doing with the family, and the account is holding well even with this downturn. But I've been doing a lot of YouTube and seeing who else is out there selling trading programs. And of course, you got the big hitters, Jason Bond and other people. And I'm seeing where they're falling down at. I go back and I say, okay, what is the review? Like Jason Bond, that's great heavy sell, but he doesn't tell you performance. But then you get into his program, then people complain you can't get out of it because he locks you in, all kinds of stuff. But my real dilemma underneath all that was, is there really I know there's a market for people who learn trading, because Online Trading Academy graduates at least 1,000 people a month out of their school in Irvine. But I'm still like in a quandary. I mean, doing good with the family, don't get me wrong with that, and I'm still sticking with my whole thing. But it's just beyond the walls of the family. Is there anything out there in that wilderness? What you just showed me now would be a great test to see options trading, and what would I get out of it, and if there's enough, you know, the return on investment that you mentioned earlier, and influencing and effectiveness. And so I would like to test that before I continue going too deep.
Okay. Yeah, this would be a good software. Let me go back here. If you want to clear results, you just hit the clear button here, and it will wipe out everything you got in there. So let me just clear those out. What's your main key? Is it options trading?
That's it. Options trading. That's simple.
Okay, so let's see what it comes up with with the hashtags. Said it found 10 hashtags. So just options trading, there's 43,000 posts.
Okay.
On options trading.
So now we go to the next step, and that is what are the influencers and what's their following and what's their
Yeah, let me put options in here just generically and see what it comes up with. Okay, so just options alone, there's 611,000.
Okay.
Options trading, there's 43.
Okay.
Options contracts. So sometimes it takes this thing a while to do its dig.
True.
Options education. 410 posts on that.
Okay.
Let's see.
So
yeah, like here's one, options for youth. I doubt that has anything to do with with options trading.
No, that's more like how to keep them out of trouble.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, let's just grab options trading here, and I'll copy that one. We can take it over here. And we'll see what we come up with.
Because the influencers are the ones I'm going to need to move forward.
Yeah.
There, the ER expectations is running in the between 3 and 5%. Okay.
Yeah, so it shows how many followers they've got, how many posts they've done, and what their engagement rate is. So these are decent engagement rates.
Okay.
So these, any of these would be people to reach out to see if they would be interested in, offering your trading course.
Yeah. So I went to Kevin O'Leary speak on Monday, and of course it was nothing more than the beginning program was about buying and selling and flipping real estate.
Okay.
But I got a lot out of it. Not that I'm going to go back into real estate. I'm out of real estate. But the point was how these guys were attracting their audiences. They gave us a great little workbook, and then I wrote down, says, how can I use this superstructure to my trading? And it really helped me a lot, because now I know how to do my videos in sequence. That was about having a problem was the what I call upfront bonuses. I was an attraction. You get free upfront bonuses now to get introduction to what I'm going to do, and then if they want to go beyond video 6 or 7, that's the pay section. But the point I'm coming to was that the dilemma, or the reason of the doubt, was that at City Club I've engaged like maybe 30,
I don't think I'm following your question on here.
Okay, well, my question was that I'm having doubts if pursuing this any further, because the thing is that if I focus just on trading, I make money on just trading, and not do the education thing. That's where and the reason I was judging it off was that I'm not getting a lot of response from my fellow members of City Club. So the next thing was what you brought this morning now has helped me decide what is beyond the walls of City Club.
Yeah. City Club, really, I'm not sure how you got connected with them, but I don't really think they've got anything for you. They're not your right audience. They're not your ideal customers, and I don't know what you're looking to get out of them. But if you're trying to sell, your stuff into them and it's not a right match, then you need to walk away from it and find who your ideal client is.
End of January, I already told the membership director that end of January I'm done.
Yeah, that comes down to fishing in the right pond.
Right.
And using the right bait.
Now I'm looking at this pond, what you just showed us this morning. That's why I was now going, where's my next pond to drop my hook? And that's what just helped me a lot. I thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, hey, sure. Go ahead, Anthony.
Hi. I had a question about, I have three sites, 3 PBNs, and they've each got about 30,000 backlinks on them. And because of the problem we've been talking about the past couple of weeks when I talked with you about links that weren't being clicked, I took the content on those 3 sites, I put them on new sites, because the 3 sites they weren't delisted by Google, but it seems like Google is suppressing the results from the sites. And I'm assuming it's because of all these backlinks.
Well,
So
it could be a lot of reasons. It could
okay.
be engagement.
Okay.
It could
Yeah,
be,
I have, it's like over 2 minutes on all of them. One has over 7 minutes of,
okay.
but less than 10 visitors a day, but over 7 minutes last week. So I can't.
Okay. Well, yeah, if you've got 7 minutes on there, then it's probably not your user experience. It's probably other factors then.
Okay. So my question is, what do you do? What's the best practice 2019 right now, 2018, with the situation where you've got these sites with all these backlinks? Can you preserve the sites because they're aged domains? I'd like to keep them.
Yeah, I would not ever. I'd never get rid of them.
Okay.
Because any kind of penalties, generally there's a trigger for that to be lifted. Like I remember when a lot of sites were getting de-indexed and the people were giving them up, they were just letting them go. And I actually held on. I do stuff to find out where the limits are, as you know. And I was probably one of the first ones way back to actually get a site banned in Google. It was one of my own sites and I pushed it to find out where the limit was. But I held on to it and I have affiliate offers and stuff on all of those sites where they were making money. And that was kind of how I was gauging how well my SEO was doing at one point. This is, we're going way years back. And all of a sudden, like 2 years down the line, I get a check. And I'm like, I didn't recognize who it was from. And I found out it was off of that site that had been banned. Well, it was exactly 2 years to the date. I looked at my analytics. 2 years to the date, the ban was lifted and the traffic was back full stream. And that was where I realized that there was, that ban was a 2-year ban. And anybody, it was like kind of like a penalty box to prove if you were real. Because a real business owner wouldn't they wouldn't trash their website. They would just continue on, right? If Google stopped giving them traffic, that doesn't mean that's the end of their business. And that made such a big factor that having held on to it for 2 years, regardless of what Google did, they trusted it even more at the end of the 2 years. So I would never ditch sites, even if you're not using them. If there's a chance you would ever use it, I would highly recommend that you hang on to it. But you may need to, operate under best practices of today if you want to play today. If you can't wait 2 years for, to get back in the game.
So put them all live again with new content and just put it out there. And don't hit it with backlinks. Don't hit it with junk backlinks.
If you're going to hit it with backlinks that are from relevant traffic sources that are actually going to send traffic to it, and make sure that it's a pretty high amount of those backlinks have the brand anchor text in them and variations of that.
Okay.
That would be your best practice for today is, links that bring traffic. Obviously, those are going to be relevant links, relevant sources, and anchor text with a high variance of your brand in it. That's going to be your biggest bang for the buck factors.
Okay, thanks.
All right, and then Chris has a question about the site pop software and best practices. And this is a great question. This is a great topic because the site pop software, this is the new version. It's like V2 for RainMaker. And the difference between the original RainMaker product and this is a lot. It does kind of the same thing with extra added variations. One of which is it's got multiple browser formats. Another one, it's got multiple platform formats. Like this one works on mobile devices. It works on desktop, mobile, tablet. It's responsive. It works on all devices. The other thing about it is it's actually formulated to train Google's rank brain into thinking that your keywords and your brand are connected. It makes that connection where the other one didn't. The other one just ran the keywords, and I told everybody to put brand-related keywords in that you knew that your site ranked for. That was the way the first RainMaker worked. This one is much more advanced. This one, you can actually put a keyword in that you don't rank for. And what it will do, it will run the search for that keyword knowing that it's not going to come up. But it's running through the motions in Google. It's going through page after page looking for something. It's not finding what it wants, and it goes back and it revises the search and it adds your brand name to the keyword. Then you come up, then it clicks. So in essence, what it's doing, it's training Google that when somebody is looking for this keyword, they're looking for your brand. It's like the ultimate level in, in playing this game. And that's what it's doing. It's feeding that information up. So when you're setting up your SitePop account, you want to use we give you 12 keywords. You want to make sure you use all 12 of those keywords to make sure you've got good variation. And then you'll notice when it says brand, your company name, you can put in multiple company names. That company name, really, think of that as your brand, not your company name. Like, let's say you were a dental office and you had 5 dentists. You would have each dentist's name listed as a brand name. If people know you by name, your name would be a brand name, so you put that under the company names. Because what it's going to do, it's going to mix those up as it's running those searches, and it's going to swap those up to make various search terms or search queries into Google. So it's pretty cool, and it's doing everything with the intent to show Google that your brand is important for that set of keywords. And when you do that, when you increase that trust factor, Google winds up ranking you for hundreds, if not thousands of keywords. On our sites, on our commercial sites where we've been doing SEO and we've been proving that factor out, those sites rank for 40, 50, 60,000 keywords. They've got a tremendous amount of trickle traffic from all the little obscure keywords that no one focuses on, but we get that traffic for free when we do that right. So the trust factor and the brand connection is that's a key metric now. So that's what the new SitePop is actually doing. It's making that connection, making that brand connection with your keywords. So it's if you're looking for best practices, mix up the keywords, use 12 different various keywords that are all in the same niche. They don't have to be real close, but fairly close in the niche, and then use as many different brand variations in the company names as you can possibly come up with. That would be your best practices for that. Okay, let's see. Mariette asks if I need hashtags and Instagram postings for Mango branding. Okay, yes, it depends if you're in Instagram. If you've got an Instagram account and you're actively marketing on there and getting followers, then yes, you should be using Mango branding as a hashtag. If you're not in there, chances are other people probably won't unless they know you and they're talking about you in that particular forum. But like I said, hashtags inside the Instagram community, hashtags are like a categorization. So if you get popular enough that you have your own category, and that category, remember I said to use 7 hashtags? So Mango branding would be one hashtag, and then promotional clothing would be another one. So those two, they make that connection. So it's possible at some point, if you get enough momentum, that if someone did a search in there for promotional clothing, it would attach the Mango brands and you would come up there. So that's kind of the reason that you want to use your own hashtags. You want to create brand hashtags and make that connection, tie those categories to your name. So when people understand, or when Instagram understands, hey, Mango branding is about promotional products, they're going to recommend you for that. So that's kind of the baseline methodology behind it. It's the same thing with YouTube. You know, when you put tags in YouTube in a video, it's the same thing. You're basically just telling Google, or telling YouTube rather, how you should be categorized within their directory, their listing. Because they've got a gazillion videos in there. And anytime you have that kind of information and data, categorization becomes very important. You know, how do we categorize this when somebody does a search and, you know, we're trying to figure out what's most relevant out of a gazillion videos? That's one of the pieces that they use to help do that. Google is no different. Google does the same thing. You know, Google uses keywords to categorize. You know, it's that's how they've done it from the beginning. So YouTube, tags, Instagram, hashtags, they all have to have some sort of a mechanism to categorize.
Hey, John, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Nice to see you there.
Yeah, you too.
Just really quick, we've been using hashtags since, you know, the early days of Twitter.
Yeah.
And what they were used for were people subscribe to these tags, these hashtags.
Yeah.
And so what will happen is you want to use them, like we use them, of course, on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. We use them everywhere that you can. Even YouTube now has an actual support. If you notice under the videos now, they actually have a row there for hashtags besides your regular keyword tags.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting when we'll post something like with the girls' kettle corn business, we'll get people from all over the United States, from other states that are following, you know, hashtag kettle corn or hashtag funnel cake. And they'll subscribe to their feed after that because people are subscribing to those keywords. So definitely want to associate whatever it is that people are trying to be known for, or you know, yeah, you'll get the traffic, you'll get the subscribers. And for Gregory, we have a client right now. They actually have a Forex course, and they focus on women, I guess you could say. And all they did was Facebook. They just started a Facebook group. They started this movement. Now they've got thousands of women all learning, you know, how to trade Forex. And it's amazing to see what they've done in just under 2 years. They're getting on the bigger platforms now. They're getting into the bigger conventions, if you will. They're starting to get invited to speak at like women's groups, network, this, you know, all this stuff for women. So, you know, I agree with you. That other place where he was trying to promote his course wasn't his pond, but you don't really need. Just put it out there, man. Just put it out there. And for Anthony, I don't know, it would help him to do videos on some of those sites, like you were saying, to get relative backlinks. So, you know, just start hammering it with YouTube link pyramids, and I think that would help. So I was just kind of saving it all for one big comment here. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. That's a great point about the people subscribing to hashtags. I hadn't even thought about that aspect, but what Mark was saying there about that, it's like when you subscribe to a YouTube channel and then a new video goes into that channel, you're notified. Same thing, like he said, with the hashtags. If people subscribe to a hashtag, you could go out, and that was another thing I didn't show you guys inside the software where we were looking for people inside the Influencer Spy. There was another one where you could look for posts based on a hashtag. So you could see like how many people were following a particular hashtag and how many posts there were about that hashtag. And you could also do it that way. If any of you guys wind up getting that software, there's a lot of training with it. Inside Jason's membership area, he's got training on, you know, how to use every aspect of it. And that's one of the things he goes into, is how to search on the posts and how to kind of backwards engineer that to see, you know, what hashtags were being used, what people were actually posting to them and all that. I did you the, the abbreviated version of how to just get in, do it quick and dirty. But there's a lot of other stuff that you can do with that software, and also the Authority Spy as well. They have training in there as well. So if you're going to do that, and also for Anthony, he has restrictions, as several of you do, with who you can advertise through, just because of the content, the nature of the content. And when you go to the influencers, you bypass all of that. Because if you get an influencer that is related in a content area, they have access to followers. You bypass all the rules of, the paid traffic sources, and you can go right directly to them. So that, again, that's going to be really powerful for anybody that's running into any kind of restrictions, from their content, like supplements. A lot of advertisers don't like supplements just because of the claims and the liability, the issues related to that. Insurance, any kind of financial stuff. When you go and you try and run ads for those things where there's a lot of regulation around something, you're going to find that it's really hard to find a place to run ads and even spend money to buy traffic. So influencers solve all of that. They've already done that. They've already built the traffic. They have the following, and you can literally just tap into it. It's pretty cool. And if you don't want to go with the influencers like through social media, you can also go into those marketplaces. Those marketplaces are full of people with big, juicy lists that have your ideal customers inside them. So great sources. I highly encourage, everyone at some point to move into the influencer marketing and connect with at least a couple of these guys to run some offers for you. It can be highly lucrative. I've been doing this for years. I've done it with people as big as Ryan Dice. Ryan Dice is a major influencer, and he did a promo for me back in like 2010, and it was a landslide. I couldn't believe how many sales came through that one offer. It was crazy. So, okay, Russ wants to know, can you export the search data in a CSV? Absolutely, you can do that. There's a button for it. In fact, when you, let me bring it up and I'll show you guys. Share the screen again. Yeah, when you go in here, this download button here, that download button will save everything as CSV just right out of the gate. So it'll take all the information, you can put it in an Excel spreadsheet, and then you can sort it, sift it, work with it however you want. So it's a cool little piece of software. Really easy to use. Like I said, there's only 2 tabs, but when you go into search here, remember before we went on people, here's the one I was just talking about where you can search on a post. And on the post, you can do the same thing. You can do a range of followers, and then also you can do a range of likes. You can say, I want a minimum of 10 likes and a maximum of 100, whatever it may be. And let's see. I'll just do options trading again here, and we'll just let that run and chew on it for a minute here. But yeah, that's one thing you can do is you can download all the information. There's a copy button here. Like if you want to, let's say you just want a few of these, again, you can hold the control key down and you can select like those 3 I've got selected, and then here I can copy that information of those 3 individual influencers. Again, you've got a link to websites if there's a website link, or you can go right to their Instagram page and see their information there. Okay, so anyway, that's how that works. It doesn't look like it. I should have cleared the search so we could see which ones it brought up and which ones were already there. But anyway, you guys can play around with it. It's a pretty cool software here where it shows the engagement rate. That's the part I really like about it, because you don't have to guess. Otherwise, what you're doing, you're having to go into the Instagram account. You're having to look up the followers, look up the following, look up the posts, look at the likes, and all that to figure out what the engagement rate is. And this just saves so much time. Okay. All right, guys. Anything else before we wrap up here for today?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Mark, do you have that Facebook page for the ladies in Forex? Or an idea how I would find it?
You probably just go into Facebook and search for it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you can find a bunch of them. Another thing I want to cover too before we cut out here is the holiday schedule. I know we're coming up on the end of the year here. We've got Christmas, we've got New Year's, and a lot of people are traveling, including myself. So next week we're on track for our call on the 20th. The following 2 weeks, I'm actually going to be out of town on those 2 Thursdays. So I will probably push the call up to Wednesday, the 26th, which is right after Christmas. Not sure if anybody's going to want to be on there or not, but I will have that call open if anybody needs me or wants to hop on there. And then the following call will be on the Friday, the 4th of January. So first Friday in January, I'll be back, and we'll have the line reopened at that time. So that's kind of for me, the holiday schedule of what we're fitting in. I've tried to do the calls on Thursday, being out of town, but the connectivity issues, they're definitely not ideal. So I like to push them off to where I'm here at the home base for the calls. Okay, anybody else? Anything before we wrap up for today?
John, on those other dates, it'll still be 11 o'clock?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
So I'll set my alarms. I go forward and set my alarms on my phone and avoid being lost. Oh, my new computer's coming today, I hope. So I'll be up and operational. Thank you. And
right. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up for today. If I don't talk to you before Christmas, you guys have a great Christmas, but we will be on next week. So hop on, let me know where you're stuck, and let's get you going for the end of the year here.
Thanks, John. Have a great Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you and Barb, John.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Ditto.